Hey everybody, it's Mark, DoctorDeadwax, and it's time for another video. And today I'm going to do a video response to Dan Vinylfury for his 1000 subs contest. And cheers Dan, well deserved. 1000 subs, it's awesome. It's 1100 subs now, which is even more awesome. Totally well deserved. You make great videos, you show really interesting music. Lots of music that I personally like. You show music that when I go out and listen to it interests me a lot, and you show just almost completely different music than the kind of music that I show. So that's, I like to see things that I don't want to watch videos where people reaffirm my tastes. I want to watch videos where people expose me to new music, which is why I watch videos with heavy metal, for example, because I don't listen to it, but I want to be educated visually about what's out there and what I should be looking for, and your videos kind of do that, and I'll get into that a bit more in a second. You have a totally different take on camera than I do. I'm a babbling idiot most of the time, completely off topic, kind of ranting and raving. You're very focused, very calm, you're very cool, you're very collected. I can't do that. So it's refreshing to watch that too. And you have a great eye with the camera. You take great photographs. And you have a head of hair, bastard. And you show the rest of the world that people from the Pacific Northeast do know what a razor blade is and can occasionally visit a barber. So you have all that going for you. So, on to the first question. Have you ever shown a record that I've subsequently got for my collection? Well, the answer to that is no. You show records I want in my collection, but I only buy used records. And you show modern music, and you show a lot of new records that you buy new. And I don't buy new records. It's just a different philosophy, a different way, a different approach that we have. I would buy the records that you show if they showed up in the used bins, but they don't, because modern music very rarely shows up in the used bins. I have like Arcade Fire's Neon Bible I got for $8, but I mean it's very rare that happens. And when modern stuff shows up, it's gone in a second, and I never see it. So, would I buy the music that you show? Yes, especially the post-rock stuff. I love the post-rock stuff you show. When I go out and listen to it, I really enjoy it. I love post-rock. I just have very little on vinyl, and but I listen to it on FLAC on my iPhone and on the music server. So I like that. I just don't have any of it. So, and the jazz that you kind of show, we cross over there. So I can't say that you've shown anything that I've subsequently went out and bought, but you've shown things that I've bought, and you have bought things that I've shown. So, and I doubt that they were because of each other, but just kind of, it's used records. You buy what's in front of you. That's the only choice you have. So, sorry on the first question. But on the second question, I can do that one pretty well. I have no favorite store currently. I don't really like most of the stores. I have a record store that I can walk to in less, 5 minutes from my house, that I have never bought a record in 13 years. I have never found a record in that store to buy. And, well, you've seen the shit I buy. It's not like I have a problem buying records. I have a real problem buying records. So it's not like, why can't I buy a record in this place? Because everything is brutally expensive and crap. $35 for an Ella Fitzgerald record that's $5 anywhere else. I don't know how the place is still in business. And there's some other record stores in town that are terrible. There was one that I liked here that I no longer like, so I won't talk about that. But we kind of kept them in business for 10 years. See, you wouldn't do this, but I'm just going to ramble. They were kept in business, I would say, for a long time by the people that bought used records from them. And they kept all their records in the basement, and then all of a sudden they moved all the records upstairs because of the vinyl revival, and $2 records are now 12 and 14, and a UK pressing's $40, even if it's in VG minus condition. Like they've just totally gone insane, so I never go there anymore. We've got another used record store that seals all the records, and you got to go up and beg them to look at them, which is a total pain in the ass when you're looking for labels like I am. Maybe if I was looking for a record and I just wanted a clean one, sure, I could go up and look at it, but I'm looking for like a specific label or the DeadwaX. I mean, a store with sealed records, sealed used records for a guy like me is garbage. There's another... Oh, anyway, so on to the stores that I liked in the past, because I don't have any that I have a few that they're okay, but in the past I had a lot of favorite stores, and this was my absolute favorite store, and it's Peter Dunne's Vinyl Museum, and this was a store in Toronto, and there were 3 of them, but I only ever went to one of them. Downtown Toronto, Yonge Street, there was Sam the Record Man. Next door to that was A&A's, and 2 doors up from that was Peter Dunne's Vinyl Museum. And from a kid, you'd ride an hour long on public transit from the suburbs to the city, and you go to Sam's and you buy the new record that you were looking for, and then I would go a couple doors up the street to the Peter Dunne's Vinyl Museum, which was used, all used, or like sealed deletes, you know, clearance, that kind of stuff, and and that's where I became a digger. He had like 100,000 records easily in his store over a couple floors, and that's where that kind of passion for just flipping through the bins and sitting on the floor and flipping through the stuff under the tables, and that's where it started for me. So that's my favorite store. That's the store I think of most fondly. That's the store I wish still existed. That's the store I picked up a lot of my collection in when I was in high school, because a new record would be $7, $8, $9, but you could go to Peter Dunne's Vinyl Museum and you could get good used records for $3, $4, maybe $5, sometimes $2, and it taught me how to grade, because everything in the store was from fair to mint, so it taught me to look at every record I bought and to grade, and it's where I started to learn about first pressings and stuff like that. So anyway, I have a button from them that I can't find, but I bought it off eBay a couple of years ago, and it kind of bugs me that I couldn't find it for the video. And this is here's an example of a record I bought from them as a kid. I took the price tags off everything, but I left them on the Peter Dunne's Vinyl Museum records. So I bought this, wish you were here, and this is a first Canadian pressing with the original thick cardboard inner sleeve, vanity label, the whole deal. And I've had 100 other copies of this record over the years, and I've never found one that sounds as good as this. So, and I'll never ever get rid of this record. I don't get rid of my records anyway, but anyway. And I've got other records in my collection, white label promos. Let me see. Rick Wakeman's Criminal Record, white label promo, German pressing of Tarkus by ELP, some John Anderson and Yes records. Anyways, a lot of my prog from when I was in high school came from Peter Dunne. It was a great, great store. I wish it was still around. I know that Guess I'm Just a Spud Boy worked for him near the end of the store's history, so you know, there's another connection to the BC there. So there's that store, and then where I grew up in Scarborough, the closest store to me, which was like a 12-minute bike ride, was a store called Star Records. And Star Records was a family chain of 3 stores. There was a store in Scarborough, a store in Oshawa, and a store in St. Catharines. And Mike owns the one in Oshawa because it's still there, and Paul owned the one in St. Catharines, but that didn't turn out too well, so that's gone, long gone. And the one in Scarborough, I can't remember the guy's name, even though that was the one I went to. I've never been to the other 2 stores, but I lived there, in high school, and he was awesome. He was a huge Bruce Springsteen nut, and he had the store. The walls of the store were lined with bootlegs, but they weren't for sale. They were his own personal collection. So it was like a museum to Bruce. And but he would order all my like UK imports of New Wave for me, and he was just a great guy. But one of the things that I was digging through my collection recently, and I was pulling out some punk stuff. And one of the things that's interesting about Star Records is that Mike in Oshawa, he presses records from time to time. And here's one that he pressed, Forgotten Rebels, In Love with the System. And that's pressed by Star Records. And Mike in Oshawa is still around. He's still in business. He still does the show circuit. He doesn't do a lot of shows, but he does a couple of them. I think he does. He often does the one in Burlington. He often does the one in Oshawa, and he does the one in. I think he does downtown Toronto, and I think he does Mississauga. But he's a great guy, and he is in. If you go on YouTube, you can see him in the latest video from Blue Rodeo. There's a shot inside a record store, and the guy wearing like the old-fashioned hat. That's Mike. So that's kind of cool. And then the third store I want to talk about is if I lived in Chicago. I was there a couple of years ago digging for jazz. If I lived in Chicago, this would be my favorite store. I love this store. And I bought the bag, DustyGroove.com. Dusty Groove in Chicago was an amazing record store. And this is the bag I take with me everywhere. I take this to record shows. I take this when I go to listening sessions all the time at my friends' houses. And a packet full of records that I'm gonna listen to and stuff. So, and Dusty Groove was awesome. In Canada, jazz records are like hard to find and ridiculously expensive. And I must have bought 40 Blue Notes from Dusty Groove for $6 to $9 each. I mean, just heaven for someone like me. So, it was my favorite record store when I was in Chicago, and I hit 11 of them. So, so that's it, Dan. Those are my record store stories. Excuse me. So, once again, keep making videos. 2 years. See you in 4 when you got 10,000 subscribers. They'll all be well deserved. Have a great day, Dan. Keep the records spinning.